Bethany with Girl Defined Ministries, and we are going to be giving advice.
Guys and girls are different.
We know guys and girls are different.
They're just different completely.
No doubt about it. Guys and girls are
Did you, by any chance, date one Kimberly Wilkinson?
We shouldn't sit through a date with a guy.
Back in the day, back in high school, we were totally
met on a blind date.
We met.
Radical ideas.
Right.
Just being free.
And I just don't love
As we talked about this idea of waiting, we're studying this biblical concept of waiting well with our minds during the time that we also fight this temptation to lust. And so what we end up doing is we compromise our physical purity as a result. Now, our inability to wait well with our minds turns into an inability to wait well with our bodies. And that should tell us that our physical purity is directly linked to our mental purity. But if we take a step back and we ask ourselves, why do we struggle so deeply with physical and mental purity in the first place? What is so hard about waiting? Why do I find it so difficult to wait until the time is right? Why is it so hard for me to be content with where I'm at? The question behind our question finds its root in satisfaction. We all want satisfaction. At the very core of who we are, we want our desires to be fulfilled. We want our urges to be gratified. And the problem is that we are constantly looking for satisfaction. When you're a kid, satisfaction might be a bag of candy that you see in the checkout line that you want your parents to buy you at the cash register. It could be a new bike or ripstick or a gaming console or a Barbie doll that you wanted to get for Christmas. You thought those things were going to make you happy, and they did, but they only worked for just a little while. When you became a teenager, you started to look for satisfaction in getting good grades. You woke up one morning, you looked in the mirror, and you thought that if you could change the way your body looked, you might be satisfied. Satisfaction began to look like athletic accomplishments, what I can do on the sports field, and having the coolest new car, or being known as a popular kid, or even being satisfied in a relationship with a significant other. And some of you guys are finding out that those things don't satisfy your true needs either. One day when you become an adult, you'll look at a bigger house or a better job with more vacation time and higher salary. You'll think about having more or less children, or even look at something like retirement as a means of satisfaction. Just ask your small group leader if they've ever thought of any of those things. But I think you guys know the answer. Because the problem is that in all times and all places of your life, you will be searching tirelessly for satisfaction. Our hearts are like black holes full of discontentment that will eat up and consume relationships and all kinds of power statuses and every type of possession that we can get our hands on and never feel satisfied. You will always be wanting more. And while this series has been a deeper look specifically about relationships and sexual desires, the issue is not going to stop there. In fact, the issue is not going to stop anywhere until you find your complete satisfaction in Jesus. God wants you to be satisfied in Him. He wants you to be so fully satisfied in your soul that no amount of positive or negative circumstances could impact your commitment to Him. He wants you to realize that ultimately He is the only source of true satisfaction, and that all other forms of satisfaction are just like candy in a grocery store. The psalmist, talking about this issue, he says, "You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand there are pleasures forevermore." So tonight in your small groups, we're going to continue looking at the issue of waiting and relationships and sex and desire. And I hope you come to realize that physical purity is bound to our mental purity, which ultimately finds its root in spiritual purity. What's ironic about this is how frequently we separate these issues into different categories, where in truth they all stem from true and complete satisfaction in Jesus. So as you go about your small group discussions, remember that there is a path that leads to life. And that path can only be found and experienced in the presence of the one true God through a relationship with Jesus Christ. That path is the path of true and never-ending satisfaction.